think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Fucking love this show.
Yes, indeed.
Oh god damn it, I love this show so much.
Well, it's time for the greatest show on earth, kids.
And no, we're not over exaggerating.
Hands down, completely. There's nothing that comes close to this.
This is the best. And in case you can't tell by the title, well then, you're an idiot.
Well,
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop.
Whew.
Where do we begin? Do we run through each episode?
I guess we might as well just run through each episode, give our thoughts on it. I've got the wiki open with the list of episodes.
Okay.
And we won't be doing the movie because neither of us has seen it yet.
We may very well do a video on that when that time comes.
Yes. A sequel to this, actually. Okay. First episode, Session 1, Asteroid Blues.
Well,
basically just establishes
yeah,
Spike
it does what a pilot should do.
Yeah, I'll just read out the what do you call it, the plot synopsis on this thing. Fellow bounty hunters Spike, Spiegel, and Jet Black head to the new Tijuana asteroid colony to track down a bounty head who's trying to sell off a stolen cache of a dangerous combat drug called Bloody Eye. It's basically speed. This episode pays homage to Desperado with Asimov, the guy trying to smuggle the dangerous drug, resembling Antonio Banderas' Mariachi, and Katrina, the chick helping him, resembling Salma Hayek's character. Now, if you know who all of that is, you're cultured scum.
Well, the episode, does what a pilot should do. It introduces all of the characters. It sets the scene for the series. It doesn't really warm up, though, in my opinion. It does. There's no warm-up period. It just happens, which I think is a very Bebop thing to do.
Yeah, everything just sort of goes and...
But you understand it. It's not like it rushes it, but there's no real introduction at all. It's just like a normal episode, really, when you compare it to what they do prior to the bounty.
Yeah. There's a lot of... Like, it really does set the tone for Jet's character, where he does more of the research on everything, and he's more of, behind the scenes, and Spike's more out there, dealing with everything. And it really sets up Spike as a badass. I mean, the sleight of hand that he just takes the Bloody Eye. So good.
It really does, yeah. It sets up the characters, sets up... Yeah, the Bebop's... Each session for Bebop is its own self-contained story.
Yeah.
That also links in. Except for Jupiter Jazz and Real Folk Blues, which are in parts, but essentially every other session
and Ballad of Fallen Angels.
And Ballad of Fallen Angels. Every other session is basically a self-contained story. So you don't have to watch the other sessions.
Which I think works in its favour.
Yeah, it works in its favour. So you don't have to watch sessions 1 and 2 to understand Honky Tonk Woman.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps,
Yeah.
but because the introduction of Faye Valentine.
We should probably talk about Stray Dog Strut first before we talk about Alright, Stray Dog Strut. It's plenty of references to Bruce Lee's Game of Death, and our good friend Jack here learns
Yes.
a particular martial art started by Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Abdul Hakim's appearance and name are modelled after NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The episode's title is a reference to the Stray Cat Strut.
Alright.
Yeah. The second session was pretty cool.
I love the
I
music
love
for this level.
the music for this
That
part
level.
was-
Session.
The level for this session, the music for this session, it was really good. I do agree.
Bad Dog No Biscuits, I believe is what the track is called when he's chasing down Abdul Hakim or whatever.
Yeah, it's an action-packed episode, as all of them are.
Yeah.
But
This is why I fucking hate pets.
this introduces Ein, which is the uplifting pet, which I believe is what TV tropes lists him as.
Yeah.
Uplifted animal.
Under the four-man band trope, he's the smart guy, which I love. But Ein is a genetically engineered data dog who basically is super intelligent.
They never really fully explain what exactly what data he contained, but I'm pretty sure it's implied that he did actually, that he had some experiment that
Yeah.
he contained.
Yeah.
They never got him, of course.
Yeah, of course.
On the Bebop.
Yeah, also, first episode, they didn't get the bounty because as soon as they tried to escape to Mars, just blasted the fuck out of them. Just pelted with ammo.
He flew. Well, he did. She wouldn't have flown in. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Stray Dog Strut, they save Ein and life goes on as normal. Session 3, Honky Tonk Woman.
Session 3, as I was saying before, you don't have to see the previous 2 sessions to realise what's happening in Session 3 as such, although it does help because the introduction of Faye is more significant if you know how the team's developed over the past 2 sessions.
Yeah.
But every session is, other than the sessions that are in 2 parts, is a self-contained story.
Yeah.
So there's a degree of modularity with that. With Ein as a new companion, the crew of the Bebop cross paths with Faye Valentine, a wanted fugitive drowning in debt who ends up being forced to act as a middlewoman for an illegal transaction at a space station casino.
The title of the episode's a reference to Honky Tonk Woman by Rolling Stones.
The commercial bumper reads Cowboy Bebop in pink cursive letters on a black background. Again, a sequence of faint, blurry grey letters and words can be seen, although no full words can be found.
Yeah, you don't have to read that part.
Well, I thought it was interesting trivia.
Yeah, pointless, but interesting.
It's a fun
Yeah.
fact.
I love the elevator ride at the beginning of this session.
ride. It's great.
He's just like, do well, but don't do perfect.
Yeah, he basically tells Spike to hold back because they'll think we're cheating.
Yeah.
It's a great intro scene for the session, and
you can't smoke in here.
yeah, it's a great intro scene for the session. It sums up what the session's mood is very well, I think.
Yeah, it's all really, lighthearted. Especially when they get into space and they're just like... the zero gravity combat in the series is always one of the highlights.
That's always one of the highlights, because it's Bebop physics at this point. It's just a separate set of laws of physics.
Yeah. Like, one missile collides with the bridge, and the entire ship just starts exploding.
Destroyed. The entire ship is, obliterated. Yet, the other hundreds of rockets that were fired all exploded in the middle of space, and
Exploded in space, might I add.
yes, not only they explode in space, they didn't do anywhere near what one rocket to the bridge did, so unless it was filled with some high explosive material.
That one rocket.
That, or the bridge, which,
We built nitroglycerin, so that sounds like a horrible idea. That sounds like a mutiny.
yeah, not in Bebop. Yeah, so the character introductions for the entire series happen pretty rapidly.
Yeah, except for Ed. Ed comes in
Except
fairly late.
It comes in fairly later, but overall, the character introductions are fairly rapid. Within the first 4 sessions,
We really have the main
within
team.
the first 3, yeah, we really have the main team, excluding Ed.
Alright.
Yeah.
Session 4, Gateway Shuffle. After gambling away all the money she obtained, Faye ends up getting her hands on a mysterious suitcase while exploring the wreckage of a derelict spaceship. Meanwhile, Spike and Jet pursue a bounty on the leader of Peter, a group of eco-terrorists armed with terrifying biological weapons.
Space Warriors is essentially Peter.
Yeah.
They essentially, a group of eco-terrorists armed with terrifying biological weapons.
Oh,
That sounds bad. What percentage of the population are we offended?
I don't know, most of them.
Oh
wait, we're on the internet. Everybody on the internet hates Peter. Sorry, I forgot.
The commercial.
This episode really just serves to have, what do you call it?
It really just
Faye.
serves to have, Faye. It's just like
She joins the team.
to add material to Faye. Commercial bumper is the same as the previous, except with blue colour scheme. That's your trivia. Gateway Shuffle. It was the intro scene. The intros for all of the sessions of Bebop are very good. They're comical, yet at the same time, just badass, just cool.
Oh, yeah.
General badassery going on.
And if I do say so myself, this is probably my least favourite episode in the series, which is saying a hell of a lot. Even then, I do like this episode a lot.
It's not that the episode's bad, it's just it doesn't possess as much
Yeah,
as the other sessions. So there's nothing in the session that was really, really bad, it's just it didn't possess anywhere near as much.
although we do get a look into the hyperspace area that Bebop, you can use to travel. And one of the things is, at one point, Spike is grinding against the side of it, and later on in the series we do get confirmed that if you leave a warp space
It's
thing,
literally a tunnel.
you're fucked.
With Star Wars and Star Trek and a lot of other sci-fi series and franchises of varying size,
You just went really fast, and this is just a giant
you
tunnel.
go really fast in a field. You have hyperspace lanes, but you can leave them, it's just they're uncharted, so they're dangerous, but that ends up changing throughout the franchise. Star Trek, it's just a warp drive, which warps you anywhere, basically, by bending space. In Cowboy Bebop, there's quite literally a tunnel. I think, in hindsight, that actually plays a lot into it, because they have laser cannons and hyperspace technology, yet they still use
Low-caliber pistols.
Yeah, they still use traditional firearms, which are often low-caliber pistols. So I think the fact that having it as in, a physical tunnel is...
Well within the grounds of this series physics.
Yeah, I think it's quite... I think it fits in with that theme. And also, is it this episode? Yes, it is. It's the episode where, apparently in high school physics, you're taught that you can see stuff in other dimensions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
high school physics. Because we definitely learned that.
As they close the gateway, all of the rockets fly through them, but since they're in hyperspace, they can only be seen and not actually interfaced with.
Which I'm sure would cause accidents somewhere in space. Just flying along, guy going in opposite direction as me. Suddenly, a giant tanker just flies past. You're gonna think it's real, and you crash into the person next to you.
And also, since it's Bebop, it's quite literally like a tunnel. So, instead of just flying away in the infinite realms of space, you are quite literally confined to a set lane tunnel.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's about it for
Actually,
session
before
4.
we move on, when you think about it, Faye's history plays into that because she would never have learnt that in high school.
Oh yeah, good point. We'll get to that later.
Let's realise that. We'll get to that. We'll link that back up.
Alright, session 5, Ballad of Fallen Angels. Now, everything goes foobar immediately.
Everything here. This is. Yeah.
This is the first real serious
self-contained
episode.
story, but it also opens up Spike's background. This is the first backstory episode we have because they've introduced all the characters and they've developed them a bit. So now it's time to look at their backstory.
While
Yeah.
pursuing the bounty on an executive of the Red Dragon Syndicate, Spike ends up confronting Vicious. Yeah, I know, original name, right? An old enemy of his.
Very similar to the John Woo movies. Shootout in the church with dual guns and standoff between Spike and Vicious are all trademarks of Woo's films, and Bebop for that matter.
Yeah.
We have a lot of film noir and other themes coming into Bebop, which is really what the series is known for.
Yeah.
this-
Vicious is Katana.
This is the first episode of real true badassery, largely because we've already developed an attachment to Spike and the other characters, and their backstories, plus the action, plus some of the lines in there.
Spike, he's so lighthearted. But just,
Yeah, it's so...
he just goes so, like, hard out in this episode. I love it.
The ending is amazing.
Yeah.
Bebop physics shines through here.
Yeah.
You assault the church, he throws a grenade, and takes cover behind a pillar, and it explodes in a relatively small explosion when you compare it to other things in the series, and knocks out a few men. He runs up the stairs, dual building, and the episode progresses, and as he's kicked... Is he kicked?
Yeah, I think he's kicked.
Yeah, I think Vicious kicks him out of the church window, and as he falls, he leaves a single grenade there, which looks identical to the grenade he threw before.
But apparently this one was just covered in C4, like just layered in it. Just
But
everything
apparently,
was modelled as C4, no metal or anything, just C4.
but apparently, this one explodes with 10 times the force and blows the top and the window off of the church. Which you could mistaken for killing Vicious, but he's the series antagonist, so we all know that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah. Really stand out music tracks in this episode is Rain, which there's 2 versions of. There's a male one and a female one.
Yeah, Steve Conti, that's the male one, yeah.
Yeah, and Greenbird, I believe, is the track that plays while Spike's falling out the window.
Yeah, as Bebop physics and Bebop medicine and other branches of Bebop science would dictate, Spike's fall just leaves him in a full body bandage, not even cast.
Yeah.
He is...
You sing off key.
Yes, and that doesn't phase him or traumatize him. He still has the same light-hearted humour as he always does.
Yeah.
Which is another feature of Bebop.
We are only 17 minutes into this entire thing, and we're only at 5.
Yeah, we should jump on to...
Session 6. Sympathy for the Devil.
Spike and Jet chase a dangerous enemy who, despite having the appearance of a little boy, is actually more than 80 years old.
Yeah, not really much to say. It's not really mood whiplash. It's more like, we're gonna be dark for a couple of episodes, guys, so just sit back and, enjoy us being weird. 'Cause
Yeah,
I believe it's, TV Tropes calls it, I forget what the trope's called, but basically, this kid can only be, brought back to his actual age by being shot or, killed with a specific, material, which is a shard of, radioactive.
It's a shard of... Is it the Gateway or the Moon?
I think it's the Moon, because
From the
this
Gateway
is when we,
accident.
This is when we properly find out about the Gate accident, which was one of the big hyperspace gates near Earth was malfunctioning, and it wasn't tested, so it just blew up, and now
Yeah, it's assumed there was just a massive explosion which didn't destroy Earth. It didn't... I don't think it destroyed the moon either completely, but it's left the surface of Earth largely barren. Not completely wasted, but very, very mostly
As we
barren.
see.
And
Yeah.
bombarded constantly by debris.
Yeah.
We're not sure about the integrity of the moon though, are we?
No, I don't think they ever do show it.
Because that wouldn't mess with Earth at all. No,
No.
so Bebop physics once again.
No, it's like in Sonic Adventure 2, we blow up half the moon, but, you know, next game it'll be fine.
Yeah, you know, it'll fix itself.
The moon regenerates itself.
Yeah.
Alright, well, sympathy for the devil. Yeah.
We'll say each session's a great session, because they are,
Yeah.
but
the title of the, Sympathy for the Devil is based off the song Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones.
a lot of Stones references in Bebop.
Yeah. Alright, on to the next session.
Yep. I'll read. Heavy Metal Queen, Session 7. The crew of the Bebop chase a bounty named Deco, who is running a load of high explosives. While nursing a hangover at a diner, as per usual, Spike meets a cargo hauler pilot named VT, who hates bounty hunters but ends up lending him a hand. The character Otto was modelled after the character portrayed by Bunta Sugahara in Trucker Yaro, which is Trucker Guys, a series of 10 films from 1975 to 1979, directed by Noribumi Suzuki. The names of the other...
Suzuki. Live.
and it's... Trucker Guys. Anyway,
Space Truckers.
the names of the other Trucker characters, including Love Machine, Sneaky Snake, and Spider-Mike, originate from the 1978 film Convoy. The line Breaker 19 stated in the episode by the character Victoria Terpsistra BT also originates from Convoy, though it is an actual term used by truckers. And I could go on to explain trucker lingo, but I don't think it's exactly in the scope of this production.
Yeah, anyway. So yeah, there's this joke going through the entire episode that of guessing what VT stands for, and eventually Spike guesses it by the end of the episode, being Victoria Terpsistra?
Yeah, the wife of a very famous bounty hunter who was killed in his line of work, or so it's assumed in his line of work.
Yeah.
We know
he's dead, and I want him to be dead. I have a feeling I'm going to be saying that later on in this video.
This episode details in the it shows a lot. It shows the way that Spike can just bend physics by going into space, and
oh no, there is actually some logic behind that.
There's some logic.
Basically, there's a scene where he says, "Now I can do my trick," and he jumps out of his, like he just jumps straight out of his ship, sticks his fingers in his ears, and breathes in really tightly, and essentially creates a vacuum inside himself, and that's assumed what he does, which I wouldn't put it past Spike, but at least there's sort of some science in there.
Exactly. So there is some science. Yeah, so it depends. Overall, the episode, it details how, like, the swordfish, he abandons it and the pod, yet they're both intact after the explosion, and they both make it out, and so does everything else, basically, which is, in a lot of series, but including Bebop, is, the character's flagship can't be destroyed. At least not permanently.
Yeah. Only really other thing to say is this episode had a really fucking hard out metal song. And
Heavy Metal Queen was a very fitting name.
This thing is.
He does actually play heavy metal in her truck. So yeah.
And it's the only time you really see heavy metal in Bebop, which I guess makes sense considering Bebop is a type of jazz.
Next session. Session 8, Waltz for Venus. While the crew hunts down a Venusian mobster, Spike meets Rocco Bonero, who is on the run.
I hate him!
From the same mobster crew who is tracking from the same mobster crew who is tracking for stealing a very rare and valuable plant, which he plans to sell to pay for surgery to restore his sister's eyesight.
Sounds surprisingly a lot like, I don't know, some joke about selling marijuana.
This was another episode that was preempted on Adult Swim after 9/11 attacks because the hijacking is depicted in the first few minutes. A couple of sessions were pulled or delayed from Adult Swim.
Yeah.
The character Picaro Calvino, the bounty for the episode, was modelled after the American rapper Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, there's our hip-hop reference in the series. Also, 3 of the criminals behind the plane hijacking are named Huey, Dewey, and Louie, references to Disney character Donald Duck's nephews.
Oh, god damn it.
Kingdom Hearts crossover, anyone?
Oh, for God's sake.
The episode...
No.
The
I'm
episode's
recording it.
title is a reference to the Bill Evans jazz standard, Waltz for Debbie.
For God's sake, I'm recording the playthrough, get off my back.
Now that you're under pressure...
No. Let's talk about Waltz for Venus. I hate Rocco. Annoying, which...
He is annoying.
I guess is what they set out to do.
This episode's... Yeah, well, it was his character model. This session has not only hip-hop reference, but a martial arts reference, because it is implied that a lot of his martial arts style is based off Jeet Kune Do, because we've already had our Bruce Lee reference, Game of Death. Although, when he's teaching Rocco some basic moves, he does basically give a paraphrased version of a Bruce Lee speech. He basically says, to be like water, my friend. I'm pretty sure that's his exact line.
Yeah, you need to be like water.
Flow.
Yeah.
He basically, it's the famous interview with Bruce Lee. Lee himself, Spike basically covers a lot of the core concepts of Jeet Kune Do. And the episodes, you kind of align more with Rocco, because he's not just doing it because he's greedy, he's doing it because...
He wants to help his sister, who Spike ends up, going to visit, and finds that she's blind. And it's assumed at the end of the episode, oh, by the way, Rocco dies.
Oh, the game. I forgot
damn it.
to open the episode with that.
26 minutes in, and it finally took us. Every episode.
Well, it'll be the gift if you keep watching. But yeah, Rocco does die, after he is like water though. He wants to be a lot like Spike, because at the beginning, even though Spike is in a half-asleep state, he still manages to deal with all the hijackers.
And gets a bounty for once.
Yeah, and they actually become bounty. The bounty's not the main thing in the episode.
Yeah.
But,
they actually get the bounty for once, and it's the first time in the series. And they do it
It's
a
not
couple of times, but...
the main piece, either.
Yeah. It's never the main one, though. They never make big money.
So he does. The episode ends with his realizing. It ends with a shootout, and he successfully does the move Spike taught him at the beginning of the episode, which is that throwback, that link, and it does overall tie up the episode. Yeah, it's a finishing touch on Rocco's character, and a mobster does shoot Rocco from behind in the chest, and Rocco bleeds out.
Yeah. And then they catch the actual main bounty of the episode.
Yeah.
Or Faye does.
Faye does, yeah. The spores on Venus from the terraforming can cause an allergic reaction, which can cause blindness. It can be repaired, but it's very expensive. And that's the whole premise the episode's based on. And Rocco's sister, which... I forget her name. Did you get her name?
I can't remember her name. Jack slept for a couple of seconds, so I might as well start off by going on to Session 9, Jamming with Edward. The crew enlists the help of an elite computer hacker nicknamed Radical Edward to help them track down a bounty head who has been vandalizing Earth's surface with hacked laser satellites. However, when they finally meet Ed face to face, the hacker's true identity proves to be a surprise for everybody. A kid.
A kid, yeah.
The title of the episode is a reference to Jamming with Edward, an album recorded with the 3 members of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, so this is where we get to meet Ed, who we have our hacking reference now. So we've basically covered
Yeah, we've covered everything.
interests.
Yeah, we've covered everything.
We basically covered everything in terms of my interests, and I'm pretty sure Metcalf's.
Yeah. Well, we have guns, death. We've got the Kingdom Hearts reference, so...
We've got the hip-hop reference, we have the martial arts reference, and we have the hacking reference. Okay. Yeah, so this series is fun for anyone, I guess, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, Jamming with Edward. Only really two things I can say about it. One, Spike's reaction to hearing that he has to go chasing after a hacker. Just ups and leaves.
He just ups and leaves. It's not interesting. Chasing hackers is never fun.
And
he's very disinterested.
The moment they find out that they have to try and, like, assault the satellite.
Fence satellite.
Yeah.
Shot at by thousands or tens of thousands of more. Yeah.
He's just like, yep, let's do this.
He becomes interested then, which is much like Spike. Yeah, this episode introduces Ed, late character introduction, but it's really the final one in terms of the core crew.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's where we meet Ed. That's basically that session.
That's really all it is there to do. And, we're reaching about the 30-minute mark, so you want to stop and take a break for a little bit, and then...
We will. We will give you another part. Yep.
Alright. Well, this is going to be a multiple-parter, guys, so... I don't know. It might be over by the end of the week. I don't know. Well,
Might be.
Might. It's going to be a long one. See you guys whenever.